fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The air in the obsidian court of the Demon Queen was a heavy, intoxicating brew. The scent of ozone, sharp and electric, mingled with the cloying sweetness of dark roses that climbed the gargantuan pillars, their petals the color of dried blood. It was a heady perfume, a visceral warning sign that always preceded trouble, a prelude to a storm. And tonight, trouble had taken on a form of breathtaking, terrifying beauty. Trouble wore the face of Queen Lilith, a being of ancient power and predatory grace. My fingers, trembling ever so slightly, traced the hard line of Chase's jaw. The rough, familiar rasp of his evening stubble against my thumb was a grounding sensation, a small anchor in the maelstrom of power radiating off Lilith. He stood a breath away, a living wall of protective warmth beside me, his golden brown eyes, usually so full of laughter and a mischievous glint, now molten gold, fixed with an unwavering intensity on the Queen. A primal tremor ran through me, not of fear, not entirely, but of a desperate, aching need. A need for the security of their presence, for the success of our perilous mission, and for something far deeper, more tangled, that pulsed beneath my skin whenever Chase and Carmine were near. We had come seeking a bargain, a dangerous, desperate plea to circumvent the king's cruelest decree. A decree that deemed our bond, our shared love, an abomination punishable by exile or worse, by severance. But the Queen, her offer, her very presence, promised something far more dangerous than any royal wrath. It promised a test, a sacrifice, a transformation. "You desire freedom," Lilith breathed, her voice a silken caress that seemed to stroke the very marrow of my bones. It was a sound both seductive and chilling, like velvet draped over a razor's edge. Her gaze, obsidian chips set in a face of exquisite, unholy beauty, drifted from Chase to Carmine, then settled on me, a curious, hungry gleam in their depths. Her throne, carved from what looked like solidified shadow, seemed to pulse with her own dark energy, mirroring the subtle tremor now coursing through the very floor beneath our feet. Beside me, Carmine shifted, his presence a sudden blaze of warmth and barely contained power. His hand, cool yet radiating latent heat, settled on my hip, his thumb subtly stroking the curve of my bone through the thin, almost sheer fabric of my dark green gown. He drew me closer, a silent, possessive gesture, until I could feel the solid heat of his body, the thrum of his magic, through the delicate silk. It was a contact meant to both reassure and to warn, a demarcation of territory in this perilous game of wills. Chase's fingers, which had been loosely holding mine, tightened around my palm, an answering pressure, a silent claim that echoed Carmine's, a testament to the unspoken language we shared. "Understand the cost, Your Majesty," Chase said, his voice a low growl that held just enough deference to be respectful, but also an underlying steel that spoke of unwavering resolve. "As long as we face it together." His grip on my hand was a silent promise, a vow reiterated in the face of absolute power. My gaze flickered between them, between the stark determination in Chase's eyes and the simmering intensity in Carmine's, and a wave of profound love laced with terror washed over me. Their unity was our strength, but also, I feared, our greatest vulnerability. Lilith's lips, stained the color of crushed plums, curved into a slow, predatory smile, revealing just a hint of pearlescent fang. "Such devotion," she purred, the sound like a cat's rumble before it pounces. "It intrigues me." Her eyes, though fixed on us, seemed to see beyond, into the very heart of our intertwined souls. My pulse hammered against my throat, a frantic bird desperate to escape its cage. This wasn't just about a deal anymore. It had become something far more personal, more profound. It was about the tangled, forbidden web of desire that bound us, a connection that could either save our world from the tyranny of the king and the impending doom he invited, or shatter it completely, tearing us apart in the process. The air thickened, growing almost tangible with unspoken magic. I could feel the hum of Carmine's power, a deep, resonant chord within him, mirroring my own magic, typically dormant but now thrumming with an insistent beat. Chase, a master of blade and strategy, grounded us, his warrior's stillness a counterpoint to the more volatile energies swirling around us. He was our anchor, Carmine our fire, and I was the bridge, the beating heart that connected their disparate strengths. Our unique triad, a love fiercely cherished and equally condemned, stood exposed beneath Lilith's ancient, knowing gaze. "The king's decree," Lilith began, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper that nonetheless filled the vast hall, "is a foolish attempt to cage what cannot be caged. Love, magic, choice, he seeks to control the very essence of your beings." Her words resonated with a bitter truth we knew all too well. The king, driven by fear and dogma, had outlawed all unconventional bonds, labeling them as unnatural, a threat to his rigid order. For us, a triad bound by a profound love that defied societal norms, and indeed royal decree, it meant a life in the shadows, or worse, forced separation and public humiliation. "We seek not to defy him, your majesty," Carmine interjected, his voice smooth, even carefully devoid of the anger that simmered just beneath his surface, "but to exist, to live out our lives as we were meant to be, freely." He tightened his grip on my hip just imperceptibly, a silent reassurance, a subtle assertion of our collective will. "And freedom, little ones, is never truly free," Lilith countered, her smile widening. "It demands payment, a sacrifice. What are you willing to surrender to claim this freedom?" She rose from her throne, a languid, flowing movement that defied her apparent stillness, and began to descend the steps, her gaze never leaving us. Each step echoed with a soft, predatory click of her heels on the obsidian floor, a sound that seemed to mark the passage of time, counting down to an inevitable revelation. Her gown, spun from shadow and starlight, seemed to ripple around her, obscuring and revealing hints of impossible beauty. I could feel the magic pouring off her now, a tangible pressure against my skin, raising goosebumps along my arms. It felt ancient, hungry, infinitely dangerous. Chase squeezed my hand again, a silent question. "Are you ready for this?" My throat was suddenly dry, my heart hammering like a trapped bird. "No, asterisk," I wanted to scream, but we have no choice. The king's decree had already stolen so much from us. It had driven us into this very lair to bargain with a being rumored to harvest souls. This was our last hope. "We are willing to pay any price," I finally managed to say, my voice raspy, barely a whisper against the queen's silken tones. "Anything to be free, to be together." My eyes met hers, and for a fleeting moment I saw a flicker of something akin to respect or perhaps amusement in their depth. She saw the desperation, the raw, unfiltered love that fueled our courage. She saw the vulnerability that made us both weak and infinitely strong. "Together," Lilith mused, drawing out the word, savoring it on her tongue as if it were a rare vintage wine. "Such a quaint yet potent concept, especially for a bond such as yours." Her gaze lingered on the intertwined hands of Chase and me, then drifted to Carmine's hand on my hip, her smile growing more pronounced, more knowing. A tri-bond, a rare flower indeed, one the king in his infinite short-sightedness would surely seek to crush. "He would," Carmine affirmed, his voice now edged with a controlled fury. "He already attempts it daily. Our very existence is an affront to his laws." Lilith chuckled, a low, guttural sound that vibrated through the air, stirring the dark rose petals that lay scattered like fallen jewels on the floor. "Indeed, and I, unlike your foolish king, appreciate beauty in all its forms, especially forbidden beauty, especially resilient beauty." She stopped just a few paces from us, close enough now that I could discern the faint, metallic tang of blood beneath the ozone and roses, a scent that clung to her like a second skin. Her eyes, those pools of obsidian, now seemed to swirl with ancient, terrifying depths, reflecting the subtle glow of the faint, unholy light filtering through the stained glass windows depicting scenes of infernal glory. "My bargain then," she declared, her voice dropping another octave, the words ringing with finality, "is not merely for your freedom from the king's decree. That I can grant with a flick of my wrist, a whisper in the ears of his council, a strategically placed illusion. No, my price is far more intimate, far more revealing." My breath hitched, Chase's grip tightened on my hand until my knuckles ached, a silent warning. Carmine's fingers pressed into my hip bone, a silent question to my mind, what is she asking? Lilith stepped closer still, invading our personal space, her presence overwhelming, like standing at the precipice of a volcano. Her scent, a dizzying mix of electric storm and funereal blooms, enveloped me. She reached out a hand, her nails long and polished black, and gently, too gently, traced the curve of Chase's cheekbone, then Carmine's jaw, her touch sending shivers down my spine. The men did not flinch, though I could feel the tension humming in their bodies, a tightly coiled spring. "I require a demonstration," she purred, her eyes now burning with an unholy light, "a full, unreserved revelation of this devotion, this togetherness you so readily proclaim." Her gaze swept over us, dissecting, assessing, stripping away any pretense. "I wish to witness the strength of your bond, its depths, its limits." My mind reeled. A demonstration? What kind of demonstration? My cheeks flushed crimson, a wave of heat washing over me. The forbidden nature of our love was deeply ingrained, our intimacy's fiercely guarded secrets. To expose them, to demonstrate them to this ancient, predatory queen, it was a violation, an unimaginable price. Yet the word freedom echoed in my mind, a siren's call. What exactly do you mean by demonstration, Your Majesty?" Chase asked, his voice low and carefully controlled, a dangerous edge beneath the politeness. His protective instincts were flaring, a palpable heat radiating off him. Lilith merely smiled, a slow, sensual unveiling of teeth. Oh, dear Chase, a queen does not reveal all her cards at once. Let us just say your conviction must be absolute, your unity unwavering, your love boundless and truly unconditional, and I shall be the judge of that. She paused, letting the implications hang in the air like a heavy shroud. Pass my test, and your freedom from the king's antiquated laws will be guaranteed. You will be free to love, to exist as you choose under my protection. Fail, and your togetherness will indeed be shattered, permanently. Her gaze sharpened, each word a finely honed dagger. The cost of my intervention is not just your compliance, but a true, visceral understanding of what it means to be bound to another, to multiple others, so completely that severance would mean the sundering of your very souls. Are you truly prepared to lay bare the most sacred parts of yourselves, for my amusement, for my judgment, in exchange for the freedom you crave? My pulse hammered against my throat, a frantic drumbeat against the silence that stretched between us. This was not a bargain for political favor or magical assistance. This was a soul-deep gamble. This wasn't just about a deal anymore. It was about the tangled web of desire that bound us, the forbidden connection, now demanded to be laid bare. It was a test that could either save our world, by proving the power of a love the king deemed unnatural, or shatter it completely, by exposing its vulnerabilities to a being who delighted in unraveling souls.